Hello, Miami. This is 305 Sports Down, your home podcast and channel for all things Miami sports related. I am Will, and unless you're living under a rock, we know that it's transfer portal season around college football, and it has been absolutely insane. As although the portal does open December 4th, there are already players have told their respective teams that they will decide to go elsewhere and pretty much contribute the talents to another location. And although we have five, okay, Frank Latson, per Manny Navarro just informed the team that he will also be entering the transfer portal. We're only going to talk about the big four that have been talked about the last couple of days, and that is, of course, defensive end Harvey, linebacker Corey Flagg, running back Don Cheney Jr., and, of course, quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. So I want to go over these four, and then I'm going to go over the statistics, and I'm going to break down exactly, how I felt about these individuals and so on, and I'll give some perspective, as well. The first thing I want to go over is the stats for Harvey. Harvey had, four-star recruit, coming out of high school, had 99 total tackles, 10 and a half sacks with one interception. Linebacker Corey Flagg had 179 total tackles, 5.5 sacks with one interception. Running back Don Cheney Jr., 175 carries, 852 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4.8 yards per carry. Okay. And Tyler Van Dyke had 7,478 yards with 54 touchdowns and a 63.7% completion percentage. Right. So pretty much these are numbers for the individuals that will be transferring. We wish them the best of luck. They all contributed the best they could, as far as the Canes go. So I'm very happy for them, and I hope they land a destination that's best suited, for their talents, and it's the best situation is right for them, to be able to contribute and maybe improve their draft status when they decide to go to the next level, if they decide to go to the next level, and that would be the NFL. So I want to talk a little bit about Harvey. Harvey is kind of interesting because he's built like pretty much like you would expect of a defensive end, but he was more of a rotational player. And when he was out there, he contributed, right? He made some tackles, he got some sacks, but I understand. Okay, I totally understand. This is a very loaded field of edge rushers on this football team. You have guys like Ruben Bain, Najee Kelly, Cyrus Moss as well, Jaden Wayne as well, and then of course they're expecting also the arrival of Marquise Lightfoot, who's going to be an absolute beast, and Booker Pickett Jr., as well. So you have pretty amongst others. If I left anyone out, you have a very loaded position at defensive end. Defensive end is a position in which the Miami Hurricanes have a lot of depth, and someone like Harvey, who I believe has one more year of eligibility, is going to want to pretty much get more snaps. And I totally get it, right? I totally get it. If there's a school that is in need of edge rushers, he's probably going to look at that school and attend that school and pretty much contribute to that school as well as more of an every down the defensive end, or at least a 3-down lineman defensive end as well. So we'll see. So best of luck to Jafari. The next one I want to talk about is Corey Flagg. Corey Flagg is quite was quite controversial for a while, and the reason being is because a lot of the fan base, especially I would say during the Manny Diaz years, a couple of years of the Manny Diaz years, were not very happy with Flagg's performance. Many felt he underachieved. He was a guy that in many cases was out of position and also had an issue with making tackles. He would miss a lot of tackles, which actually was a main issue within Manny Diaz's last year. Hence the reason why they were rated so poorly in Pro Football Focus based upon tackling, and people saw him as a problem. I honestly saw potential in Corey. I thought Corey, with the right coaching and the right development, could be a pretty solid linebacker. And this season we did see that. Okay, Corey Flagg was pretty instrumental in the locker room. My sources at the U tell me that he's actually a very good locker room leader. He's very good with the young guys, the freshmen, in particular. And Corey is the guy we remember against Caleb Klubnik in that Clemson game, is the reason why the Miami Hurricanes, one of the main reasons why, especially at the end, is made the key tackle on quarterback Caleb Klubnik, to make sure that Miami gets the victory against Clemson and beats Clemson for the first time in a very long time. So wherever Corey Flagg goes, I think he will be a contributor. He will be a leader in that locker room as well. So I'm very happy for him. If he feels that is the best decision for him to go, and try his talents elsewhere, go right ahead. Linebacker, like DN, is a position that is quite loaded this year and next year as well for the Canes as well. Linebacker is not a position of need for the Canes with Popo Aguirre, You have Pulliam as well. You have Malik Bryant. You have, Maui Noah. And then, of course, then you're going to have, Cam Pruitt coming in as well next season. So it's going to be a very loaded linebacker field for the Canes. And, it's not a position of need. So I understand why Corey may want to go somewhere else and not be a rotational player and also play, most of the downs and get a lot of snaps like Jafar Harvey. Don Cheney Jr. Okay, Don Cheney Jr. is an individual that is quite interesting. Don Cheney was plagued with injuries. To my opinion, he was coming into the season, he was the best all-around back Miami had as far as pass protection, being a good running the football between the tackles, could bounce it outside if need to. Wasn't the fastest guy, but quick enough, where he could run away from a few guys. Could catch the football as well in the backfield. Again, a guy that bled, the green and orange. He unfortunately had that fumble, and I use quotation marks because it wasn't really a fumble, but he was weeping, at the sideline, to show that he really did not want to, lose that game for his team, even though bad decisions, are what cost that game against Georgia Tech. But the bottom line is Don Cheney was a good one. I'm actually sad to see him go. I was hoping he'd stay. He was always rumored to probably transfer at the end of the season because, again, like linebacker, like defensive end, the running back room is very loaded. Mark Fletcher pretty much became the every down back for Miami towards the end of the season. Much props to Cafecito con Canes John, who called it and said that Mark Fletcher will probably end up being the starter at the end of the season. I think Chalupa Batman said the same thing as well. So yeah, that's pretty much how it went. And so Don Cheney is going to be a great contributor wherever he goes as well, to whatever team needs his services. And hopefully he can stay injury free. He's got a couple years of eligibility left, so good for him. And I hope that he goes to a school that, again, best suits him. Hopefully not one of our rivals. I don't want to pull a Corey Gaynor and end up being, the center for North Carolina. But whatever, it is his decision. He's a young man and he has the right to go where he wants to go. But he's gonna be great for wherever he's at, because he's, again, experienced, hard worker. He's a grinder. So this one does hurt. But again, a very loaded backfield for the Canes. Fletcher, you have Johnson as well. You have the Hellcat coming in next season. Kevin Riley, coming in as well. So it's going to be a very, let's not forget Travante Citizen as well, who I heard, in practice, even though he didn't get to play, was doing good things, in practice, while he was getting better and getting healthy. So it is a very loaded backfield for the Canes. So that's one thing I will say about that. So good luck to Don Cheney. All right. God bless. Okay. Tyler Van Dyke, not surprising. Okay. Tyler Van Dyke was, a lot of people blame for the reasons why we are partially 7-5 this year, because after the bye, and I would say during the start of the Georgia Tech game, he became an absolute turnover machine. Okay, the fan base really turned on him. Aside from complaining about the play calling of Shannon Dawson, TVD was the one that was throwing the ball into double coverage, and in many cases, again, I'm not angry him for it, but the fan base was really upset at the fact that he was constantly targeting Xavier Restrepo, which made it easier for defenses to key in, on his potential targets as well, because he was going to Restrepo a lot. When it worked, it worked. Okay, when it worked, it worked, and a lot of his interceptions weren't even to Restrepo; they were to other players. But nonetheless, that's one of the things that the fan base had a major issue with him as well. Also, the interceptions as well, not being able to read the zone defenses. The last couple of games, he really did ball out. He was not the reason why we lost the Louisville game, right? That was one of the worst games Miami played defensively. And he had a great game against Boston College. He really did very well in that game, did not turn the ball over. Also, Boston College decided to play a lot of man, instead of zone against Tyler Van Dyke, and TVD just ripped him apart, which is something he's really good at. So, but nonetheless, he balled out. I was hoping he'd play the bowl game just to get more tape on him, and I was worried about the quarterback depth, as well, since Ja'Cory Brown's the only scholarship quarterback now available since Emory Williams is out for the year. But nonetheless, good luck to Tyler Van Dyke as well. I know he's got some offers already, or teams circulating, and for his services. And I do think that he's going to find the right school, and I think he needs to go to a school that honestly mirrors a bit of Rhett Lashley's system, if not SMU, because of the fact that I do think that he's much better when defenses are off balance, and it's 1 to 2 reads max for him. Okay, that's the only thing about TVD. But nonetheless, okay, thank you. All right, thank you for that amazing freshman year in which he threw for like 300 yards for 6 straight games, and thank you as well for for the season. When you were great, when he was great, he was great, and then when he struggled. But the last 2 games, he left a very good impression, right, as well. All right, so that's just a little bit about that. As far as we're in reference to the transfer portal guys. Good luck to all of them. There will be many more as well. They expect a turnover of maybe 20 plus guys. I hope a lot of these guys do stay. This is a program I think that's on the up, as well. I do think with the incoming freshmen, if we could keep most of our core guys, I do think this team could pretty much compete for an ACC championship next year. Looking at the schedule, I do not see why the Canes cannot win 10 games at least, next year. Okay, I cannot see why the Canes cannot win 10 games next year. I'm saying that because the schedule is much more favorable next season than it was this season, at least on paper. Okay, there's no Clemson and there's no North Carolina, all right, either. Okay, so all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. If you like what you heard, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to 5 Sports now. All right, once again, I am Will. Stay safe, God bless. See you soon. Go Canes. I got some new episodes coming up real soon, right? Stay tuned for that. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.